Today, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, we are back in the wonderful Valley of Ventia, where today I want to finish up what I started in the last episode and try to actually get this other side of the valley pretty much complete. And since 1.17 is so new, we're not going to have the super awesome intro time-lapse since replay mod isn't quite up yet. But hey, if you guys could do me a favor and let me know if you hear any news of when the replay mod comes out, I'd be very grateful. And the plan for today is going to be to build two buildings over on the other side, right there and there. So we're gonna need a lot of materials to do this. And so I've got to go get a bunch of materials, and it turns out that most of my stuff is still over here by the castle in the village. Yeah, it's not the prettiest sight when the shulker monster loads into view. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you guys think I'm good at building stuff? Too bad the thing I'm best at building is shulker monsters. Yeah, I'm not exactly excited to be the guy who has to clean up all this stuff and sort it later on. But while we're here, I might as well ask you guys something, because I talked a lot about in the video where we built the castle that I want to build a port here sort of on the outside of it. That way it'll actually make sense to have the port leading up and into this entrance of the castle, which is just kind of standing undefended at the moment. And I think that's a project that a lot of people would like to see, but I think I'm saving the village upgrading for after the world tour, which, by the way, I'm so happy that you guys decided to support me in my decision to postpone it until we have shaders in the game again. Oh, there's a wandering trader. With a little luck, we might get a drip leaf, and no drip leaf. And I've been waiting so patiently the whole update just to be able to get some drip leaves. Oh, and I might as well mention that I'm working on a block-by-block tutorial for the castle here, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely let me know. And for those of you who are more interested in the regular episodes, fear not, it is not going to interfere with my upload schedule, but just know that pretty soon you're going to be able to know exactly how to build this castle block by block. So even though we're waiting until after the world tour to expand on the castle here, I do want to give you guys a few options of what we can do until then. Now, after today's episode, I hope to be pretty finished with this side over here, which means we can sort of move on to other projects we started before, and one of those is the spawn improvement project. We haven't been working on this thing for really long, and there are tons more tents and the whole marketplace that we need to build, but one of the things I really wanted to suggest for you guys is that I'm going to want to build a fighting arena, a sort of coliseum-like structure over here. And that's probably what I'd start with here over at spawn, so if this is the area you want to see me work on over the next few episodes, definitely let me know. Another big plan that's going to work out really well now that we have all the new stone blocks is building a ruined castle here over by the watchtower. I want to update the tower itself and also just kind of spread out this overgrown ruined castle all over this area. And the point of all that would be to have this be the old Ventian castle that got invaded and destroyed before they built up the new one over here on the top of the mountain. And so that would be your second option. Now, option number 3, we have to fly all the way over here to the other side of the mountain. Now, as you can see, the backside of my mountain here is suffering heavily from floaty terrain syndrome. And I've told you guys that I want to do a how to terraform tutorial episode, so if you guys want to see that, definitely type that in as your comment. Now, I also know a lot of you guys want to see what I have planned for underneath the mountain, but I actually kind of want to wait for shaders to do that as well. So that one's going to have to wait, but definitely choose one of the 3 options I gave you guys, and I will just start on that project. Now today, I want to build some of the more luxurious houses here down in the Valley of Ventia, and so I've put together 2 shapes that I think are going to work pretty well. I didn't really have that much space to work with, so as you can see right here, I'm just pretty much filling out all the space with some rectangles. And over here in between the fields, I plan to have one big rectangle here and then a tower here with this square. But guys, between all the terraforming and castle building and that kind of thing, I'm kind of running short on supplies. And one of the things that I really don't have is the sacred dark oak, so I'm gonna have to go over to the other side of the mountain here and just collect some before we can start building. You know, normally what I'll do is I'll just take a full day to collect as many materials as possible, and that usually lasts me a really long time. And you know what? I think I've found the most fun and most efficient way ever to gather wood. And look, I don't think it's entirely sportsmanlike either to just blow up the tree to gather resources. It's kind of like the Minecraft equivalent of grenade fishing in that sense. But I've been blowing up dark oak trees for like 5 minutes, and I just can't argue with the results. Now, as I started constructing another shulker monster over here, I noticed that there's actually another wandering trader down here. So please, sir, could you have a drip leaf and at least dripstone? We certainly take those. Thank you for your service, kind wandering trader. Now to finally get started on these buildings, I think I'm going to start with this one over here on the left. And the way I'm going to construct these two houses is a way you can only think about it if you have a pretty big village so far. And you know, I think Ventia qualifies as pretty big at this point. And so what I'm going to do is grab my favorite elements from some of these houses and put them together into a new house. And one of the things I really liked over in this part of the village is having this white concrete and diorite base, but now that we have calcite, I think we can actually upgrade this quite a bit. So now that I've taken the base, it's time to start working on the upper floor, and we kind of have the same style going for all the upper floors here in all of Ventia, so we're pretty much going to do the exact same thing with a little twist. Another combination that I really loved is when I built this flower shop and we had the sandstone together with the magenta terracotta here. I just think the two colors complement each other really, really nicely, and then we have the warp trapdoors that really cement that pastel vibe that we've gone for in the entire city. All right, so now we have something looking like this, and in the last episode, we started playing around with the deep slate trim instead of using the blackstone I've been going with. And so for this house, I'm gonna go with a pretty simple roof style for the main building since we're gonna have a pretty fancy tower on it. Now for these top sections right here, I wanna do jungle logs alternating with dark oak logs, which is something I've done fairly commonly. I don't think I've done it in Ventia all that much, but I have done it in the castle village before. And you know what? I think it's a pretty good combination with the sandstone as well. Now next up, we've got the tower here, so let me bring this up a bit and I'll tell you exactly what we're gonna do. As you can see, I've started to put in the very simple shape of a tower, and before we go any further, I think we can actually bring in some of this magenta terracotta just so that we know where the roof is gonna be. And that should do it. Now we can actually start decorating the details of this tower. And one of the towers I was the most happy with over here in the town, ouch, my face, is this tower right over here. I just think it looks really fancy with all the quartz. We're of course gonna replace the warped blocks up on top here with our magenta terracotta, but I think adding this type of tower over here on the side of the mountain is gonna look really awesome. So I brought with me all the blocks I need, and so all you need to do is line your bottom here with some stairs and some slabs, and then we're gonna go up 4 blocks in the corners here with some of our quartz pillars. Then we're just gonna add some dark oak on either side here, and after of course stripping it down, we'll just do some stairs on top and the bottom so that we can add our windows. Then we're gonna go ahead and add some fences here on the sides, only 3 blocks. Now, I know a lot of you guys like to use these towers for yourselves, so I'm gonna go over exactly how to do it. So let's just place a few stairs here in the corners to start with. Then we gotta do upside down stairs everywhere just like this. And finally, we need to place 1 stair just like so. Then right in front of the stair, we want to come up 1 block and another stair, and we want to keep doing that 1 block, 1 stair until we meet in the middle with all these 4 sides. Then once we're here at the top, we want to come up 2 deep slate blocks and 1 wall. After that, we're going to come up 2 dark oak fences, 1 iron bar, and finally tip it off with a flower pot. Now the last and final step is going to be to bring in our magenta terracotta, so just go up like so, and we'll do 2 right there, and we got to fill this in on all the sides. And then in the end, we have something looking like this, which is pretty nice if you ask me. We're gonna add a flag here on top later, so that's why we added the 2 fences. Now the way I'm gonna make this house way different from all the other ones is to add sort of a big balcony over on this side. I mean, we do have a pretty spectacular view of both the town and the castle, and so if we come up a little bit on top of a balcony, that view is gonna be even better. So step 1 is gonna be to knock out this wall right here and add ourselves a little entrance. Now as you can see, the door is in, and I've started work on how big I want my balcony to be, and obviously we need this path to be able to go around it, and so that's going to be fine. But this is about as big as we're going to be able to make it with the fields next to the house here, but we can actually expand it a little bit just by using some stairs like this. That way we can add just a little bit more floor space. Now as you can see, I've made some progress over here, and I added a door in, and I think I want to create a railing just by adding a few of these dark oak fence gates. And even though I think this is fine just like this, the Ventian sun is quite strong, so we're going to want some kind of covering on top of this thing just to create some shade. Now the way I want to do this is to bring in some of the warped wood and some smooth quartz just so that we can have the Ventia colors on our shade covering here. And you know what, since we have some space here, we might as well knock this out and put a window right here. Very nice, that's looking a lot more distinct right now. I think we do want to add a few details in there, however. And an easy way we can decorate this place is just by adding a table with some chairs like so. Then we'll add some of my favorite thing in the game, candles. Light them up, and we can also also add a flowering azalea. I think that looks really cute. In fact, I added in a couple more of these flowering azaleas, and I'm super happy with how this looks, and I'd really like to sit down and just have a meal right here and look out over the castle. Oh yeah, and I added in a new Ventian flag design for these smaller flags, and honestly, I think it's time we update these old flags that I built before. Perhaps these ones on the castle too. Let me know if you think I should do that. But before we call this house completely finished, I want to work on this side a bit, and I actually want to work on the corner here first. See, personally, I'm really a fan of these little towers that I started building over on the big castle over there before, and I think I want to add one here on the corner as well. Now, since we don't have terracotta stairs, I'm gonna have to go with the next best thing and use some of this crimson. I mean, the color is pretty much the same as the magenta, and I think it'll add an interesting variation. Okay, I think that looks really awesome. In fact, I decided to add a bunch of greenery around this place too. The backside here is full of spruce and azalea leaves, and in the front, I did do a little bit of gardening. I didn't go too overboard, but I did cover up some of these empty grass spots. Oh, and I also added a chimney just so we can add a fireplace on the interior later on. Now, before we move on to the second house of the video right here, there's something I want to show you guys that I've been playing around with a little bit, and that is over here in the forest. I added a few of these new glowberries. I think they look really awesome, and I love the way they're just a lighter green color than any of the other leaves that we have. They go really nicely with the bamboo here as well. Now, I didn't go overboard with this at all. I just added some in a few of the corners here, and I wanted to ask you guys what you think, if I should add more of this stuff, and if you have any great ideas. I so wish that I could add some spore blossoms into the leaves up here so that we would have that particle effect that they leave, but unfortunately we don't have those in this update. That was like the one thing I was so looking forward to, the best part of the new update, and unfortunately we're gonna have to wait until 1.18. Now, as for this next build right here, I've been contemplating whether or not I should do this tomorrow or at a later time today because it is so hot. I mean, seriously, it's like working in a sauna right here, and I can't really crack a window open because it's very noisy outside. They're just doing a lot of construction. But you know what? What don't I do for you guys? So I'm gonna try to stick this one out and get this episode out as fast as I can. As you can see right now, I'm just using the combination of andesite, cobblestone, and the cracked stone bricks that I love so much. And one thing that I really, really love about this house is how it kind of extends down into the cliff like this. I just think that looks really awesome. I have now finished the base on this thing, and I added the entrance right here on the way up the side of the mountain. I think that's pretty fitting. Now, for the short sides of this one, I want to do pretty much the exact same thing I did over there, except use some different colors. And it's been a pretty long time since we used the white mushroom blocks, and I think that they're a really good looking block. In fact, we use them right over here, and I just think it looks fantastic with these oak trapdoors. And so I'm gonna go grab some of those and put something together, and I'll meet you guys back over at the house. Okay, that means we have something looking kind of like this, and I gotta say, I love this combination of blocks. I decided to put some of the walls in here as well, and I think we're gonna want some windows right here. Now, as for this side over here, I think we're gonna add a bit more space to it, and we'll do that by bringing it out just like so. And I think I want to have this side of the roof sloping on a much less steep angle. That way we'll just have a little bit more interesting a shape to the house overall. But I do think we could knock this out and add ourselves a window right here. Now, a lot of people really seem to like this design of window right here, so something like this I think does perfect, and we get a great view of the house we just built as well. And now we can start just laying out the deep slate tile stairs here and line up our roof. Now, this is what I have so far. So we got a lot of sections of the roof sticking out here, and what I think I want to use for the roof is some more of the warped blocks. We used them up on the castle, we used them over on the school, a few of these different buildings, but I don't think we have quite enough of the warped. Now, this is all the warped hyphae that I have to my name, so I'm just gonna have to hope and pray that this is enough together with the text string we're gonna do. Oh, this is gonna be tough. I don't think we're gonna make it, guys. I'm doing the text string as I go along, just so that we'll have as many blocks as possible. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it with 13 blocks here. This is gonna be rough. Oh, please tell me there's just a little bit of warped wood in my super unorganized storage system. Oh, okay, that's one. What about up over here in the sorting system? Warped is right here. Oh, that's 6 more, okay. Now, I think we can actually make it with only these 7 warped stems, and you might be like, that's gonna be impossible, but yeah, I mean, that's as far as we got. However, we can do some of the text string, which will get us back a few of the blocks, and I do want to put some some details into the roof here that's going to give us back quite a bit. And you know, even just doing the texturing, we're only missing 4 blocks, so we're definitely going to be able to make it. And the details I'd like to add over here are actually a few windows up on the roof. And to make these windows, I'm going to use some of this stripped jungle wood because I just think it goes really well with the warped and the cyan here. It just looks nice. Now, I guess a problem I'm creating for myself is that we do have to fill this in with warp blocks. Excellent, we made it without having to gather more warped wood, so now we just gotta do the same thing here over on the other side. Okay, phew, I managed to add all the details on the roof that I wanted to without running out of the warp blocks. That is a huge relief. Okay, I've now added all the relevant greenery, and I'm super happy with how this house came out. I just think it's the perfect little house to have here as you're walking up the mountain, and from the inside, it's gonna have some spectacular views of the entire valley. And we can't forget about this side. I think this is actually my favorite side of the house. But now that we're done with these two, we pretty much just need to greenify all these mountains and do a lot of tree building for this area to be done. And I want to wait for replay mod just to be able to do that, since it's going to be way cooler in a cinematic format. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to tell me what you think about these builds and how the area is coming together in general. But for now, I am really running out of time. So as always, if you stayed all the way to the end, then you're the champ, and I appreciate your existence. And until we see each other next time, have a good one.